I don't know when, the world has changed. Space holes continuously appear in places, with all kinds of strange creatures crawling out. The human world stands on the brink of collapse. In that desperate situation, they appeared, fighting to the death with ferocious strange creatures. Their appearance saved this nearly doomed planet. The survivors also began to explore this strange world. They have a very special name, Hunter. His name is Sung Jin-Woo. With an ordinary appearance, after graduating from high school, he had no talent and chose to work as a hunter. Unlike everyone else, he did not pursue this profession because he liked it, but because he received a subsidy from the Hunter Association to send medical bills to his mother who was in the hospital. E-level caves are the weakest places in this world, and ordinary people can pass through them easily without support. But Sung Jin-Woo was seriously injured every time in the E-class cave, so he was nicknamed humanity's weakest hunter. It was a construction site, a portal to another world. Buzzing underground. The hunters who received the order to destroy immediately came. Sung Jin-Woo was no exception. Today, he still had to do extra work, and with his worse strength, he was even more likely to be mentioned. For him, joining a group can compensate for his weakness and strength, and is also the fastest way to make money. In the group participating in this mission, there is also a B-level female supporter who regularly helps him. In the crowd, the old man who volunteered to carry the flag was the highest-ranking person, so everyone immediately agreed. Thus, the Extreme Event Extermination Team, consisting of 17 hunters, was formed. After the group was formed, before entering, an elderly man said to Sung Jin-Woo, "Why don't you come along? Don't get hurt again." After that, everyone flocked to the tomb. Before entering, Sung Jin-Woo sighed. He must try his best today. And unsurprisingly, Sung Jin-Woo was injured again. Being a good friend to him, Ju-hee is both heartbroken and helpless. She didn't understand why Sung Jin-Woo was so weak and still insisted on being a hunter. Sung Jin-Woo bitterly watched people easily destroy monsters compared to his own injuries. He clearly understood that he was not suitable for this job, but he had no other choice. He could only try. His mother in the hospital had hope. Once destroyed, monsters will drop items. The old man was holding a glowing stone. Even though it was only C-grade, it was worth over 60,000. For Sung Jin-Woo, C-class monsters were still too far away. He only received the lowest level stone. At this time a hunter shouted loudly, "Look, there is another entrance." Appearing before everyone's eyes is a cave within a cave. A double cave. Unexpectedly, the legend of the double cave really exists. The old man released a stream of energy into the cave, only to see a deep cave. Experienced Old Tongue feels that there will be a final boss inside. This situation must be reported to the association, but then the final boss may be robbed by another hunter. Considering the danger to his life, Lao Song acted as captain and proposed 17 hunters to vote on the decision. The result was 8 in favor, against. The deciding vote belonged to Sung Jin-Woo. The hand holding the low-level stone trembled because her younger sister was going to school. Because his mother was in the hospital, he decided to vote yes, and everyone slowly walked into the deep hallway. At the end of the hallway are 2 giant doors with majestic architecture that scare everyone. Old Song slowly pushed the door open, telling everyone that the front could be dangerous, and anyone who was afraid could turn back. With a strong person leading the way, everyone confidently followed Lao Song to open the door. Revealing before your eyes is a giant palace. There are burning torches, giant statues holding weapons, and statues of goddesses holding musical instruments. The most special thing is the statue of the king sitting in the middle of the hall. Next to the statues is a stele recording the rules of the cave. Rule number 1: respect God. Number 2: praise the third God. Prove that your faith violates the rules, and you will not be able to leave here alive. Sung Jin-Woo immediately felt something was not right at this temple. The surroundings were unusually quiet. Then suddenly, the door behind closed on its own, startling everyone. A hot-tempered boy cursed loudly. He couldn't stand this scary place. He was about to push the door open when a statue slashed down, condemning the person who insulted the gods on the spot. Everyone panicked, and the stone statue moved. This was only a D rank cave, and the young man who had just been killed was at least a D rank, yet he was instantly killed by the guards. And such power is everywhere in the palace. At this moment, Jin-Woo suddenly remembered what Ju-hee said. He turned his head, and the Stone King statue's eyes suddenly lit up. His eyes looked straight at Jin-Woo's pulse, filling him with fear. Constantly on the edge of life and death, he immediately realized that these strange eyes were about to bring disaster. He shouted for everyone to lie down. Before he finished speaking, the statue's eyes emitted rays of energy. Accompanied by a strange cry, a beam of plasma swept across the main hall. People who couldn't avoid it immediately went to heaven. Luckily, thanks to Jin-Woo's scream, most people survived. Even though he survived, Mr. Song also lost an arm due to the energy beam. This was the first time he felt such horror. He had participated in destroying B-level caves several times, but had never met a monster that could be killed in one shot. This place is much more terrifying than a B-grade cave. He estimates that this Stone King statue is a grade, maybe S. At this time, they remembered the first rule of the temple, respecting the god. Perhaps the god is that stone statue. If they have time to regret, do they have a chance to survive? They thought this was just a normal D-level temple, but they didn't expect that an S-level god would appear, whose eyes could destroy all living things. As the highest-ranking person, Old Song lost his left arm in this attack. What made them confused was that they thought they only needed a third squad to support the D-level cave. But one person was hit by an energy beam and evaporated without a body. One person was so scared that even B-level Ju-hee was shaking. At this time, the Stone King statue was observing each person in the room. They could only stand still and not dare to move. There are still reckless people. The assassin is confident about his speed. He breathed deeply, his muscles tensed, and rushed towards the door at breakneck speed. When he was almost there, the statue made a sound again, and the guy went to heaven before everyone's surprised eyes. Everyone was in despair. These monsters were incredibly strong. As long as they want, they can easily destroy the whole group without wasting any effort. What puzzled Sung Jin-Woo was that they didn't. You can kill, but don't kill. As soon as you get close to the door, the guards kick back and attack. Movement is shot with energy. Attacks seem to follow the rules. The rule is, the first thing about Katernong Temple is to respect the god. Thinking so, Sung Jin-Woo slowly stood up. The older man thought he was crazy, but Sung Jin-Woo's steady gaze was not that of someone who committed suicide. Sung Jin-Woo's actions quickly attracted the attention of the stone statue. The statue's eyes emitted light, but Sung Jin-Woo quickly bent down, and the light disappeared into smoke. Sung Jin-Woo understood the meaning of the first law. He quickly shouted for everyone to kneel before the statue. Everyone thought he was crazy when he forced them to kneel before a god who killed people without blinking an eye. But seeing his determined eyes, it seemed he understood something, and there was no better way. To preserve their lives, people reluctantly knelt down before the gods. They waited for judgment like believers. The bright eyes of the king statue gradually extinguished. The space is quiet, without a single sound. A moment later, the king statue opened its mouth and smiled strangely. This temple is full of mysteries. When people rushed in, they were marked as sacrifices. Those who insult the gods will be punished. The only way to escape is probably in inscribed steel. After solving the puzzle, the first thing they did was kneel and worship the god. People kneel before the murderous god without blinking an eye. Seeing everyone kneeling in front of him, the evil god seemed very satisfied and smiled. The monstrous smile scares everyone, but seems effective. The attack stopped. Thinking everything was resolved, the older man stood up first. Seeing that he was okay, everyone gradually stood up. But immediately there was a sound of thunder. The statue of the king, which was motionless, slowly stood up. One foot stepped on it. The whole ground shook. When the stone statue stood up, standing straight in front of everyone like a big mountain. Still, the main character, at the right moment of decision, Sung Jin-Woo remembered the second rule of the temple, praising the gods. A Christian man stepped out, fluent in the Ujinsawan language, praising God. He pulled out a cross in front of his chest and muttered a prayer. But he didn't know he was praising another god. A loud noise rang out. It was immediately trampled into mud. Everyone panicked and ran away. Humans are like ants, brutally trampled on by giant gods. An older man wearing a blue shirt ran into the corner, thinking it would be safer, but from behind a god holding a sword cut him in half. The scene became even more chaotic. In front of him was a god who had just killed someone. Behind him was a god with a sword drawn, and as long as he got close, he would be attacked. In panic, Jin-Woo noticed that the statues holding musical instruments did not attack. He quickly told everyone to run to those statues. Sure enough, when Mr. Song approached the statue holding the musical instrument, the statue activated and began to play music. More and more people find the statue holding the musical instrument and are safe. Their eyes were filled with fear. Next is a breakdown and crying. Sung, Jin-Woo, and Ju-hee are still looking for the statue holding the musical instrument. They came to a statue holding a drum, but did not react. It turns out that only when one person does the statue play music, Sung, Jin-Woo decides to let Ju-hee stay, and Min runs to find another statue. At this time, the king statue was discovered. Jin-Woo quickly found one, but immediately the king statue stomped on him. Jin-Woo dodged in time, but when he raised his head, he realized he mistook the shield for a musical instrument. The warrior god without hesitation raised his shield, and the shield directly hit Jin-Woo. But with a strong will to survive, he did not give up and continued to crawl, often working side by side with death. He always grasps the thin thread between life and death. And this time, he caught it again. Gentle praise echoed throughout the temple. The statues also stopped working. Ju-hee ran in panic. The scene before her eyes made her cover her mouth and sob. Jin-Woo was lucky to be alive, but lost both legs. No matter how serious the crime of violating the cathedral is, the original team of 17 people is now only 6 people. 2 people are seriously injured. But it seems the god has not given up yet. A stone platform slowly rises from the ground, seemingly a sacrificial altar. He understood that the third rule is to prove your faith. This is probably the ultimate test. Mr. Kim Sang-sik pulled out his sword and pointed it at Lao Song, the man who brought them into the cathedral. If a sacrifice is needed, only the captain can be responsible. Old Song did not refuse. He slowly walked up to the altar, carrying the group's responsibility. When he stepped onto the altar, a fire suddenly flared up behind him, but Lao Song was still not sacrificed. Not understanding what happened, Jin-Woo told everyone to carry him to the altar for inspection. When the 3 people stepped onto the altar, 3 more flames appeared. They realized that humans seemed to be the key to activating the fire. When they all stood on the altar, the small flames turned into a big fire. Streams of energy ran along the grooves in the floor and the edge of the floor. The blue flame and all the energy flowed into the blue flame, and the giant gate behind it opened. The white fire gradually disappeared. The giant warrior gods became active, slowly moving towards the altar. They realized that just looking at them made them stop. As soon as their eyes left, they approached again. The principle is the same as their childhood game. This suffocating confrontation often causes mentally weak people to collapse. A girl screamed, ran away from the altar. The red flame on the altar went out. It's strange that she escaped safely, Jin-Woo thought. What is this all about? The blue flame will go out after a while. The fire on the altar goes out when a person leaves. Every time a fire goes out, the door closes a little. The third law of the temple is called the proof of faith, which is the pressure, threats, and sweet temptations that keep the faith. So the door that opened was just a trap. But even so, the face of sweet fear and temptation, people still like that naked trap. After apologizing to Jin-Woo, the fat man ran away. Jin-Woo shouted loudly, "Don't move, don't fall into the trap." If there were fewer people, there would be a death corner. Everyone would die. Just keep staring at the statues until the blue fire completely goes out. Thanks to Jin-Woo's several demonstrations, Old Kim admired him as he decoded the riddle. He agreed with Sung Jin-Woo's speculation, but also feared that over time, the door would close. He is just a normal person, has a family, and doesn't want to die. He apologized to Sung Jin-Woo and left the altar despite Sung Jin-Woo's screams of pain. The altar lost a flame of life again, and the warrior gods, who were no longer under supervision, slowly approached the altar. Old Kim leaving will kill those who stay. When faced with the choice of life or death, what will you choose? Keep the faith, or rush towards the open door? Perhaps many people will be like them, their souls filled with fear. They disregarded the rules, running towards the open door. Those who stayed behind were the most pitiful. Now, there were only 3 people left on the altar. Old Song now understood the meaning of the law. As long as one person stays, the door will not close. The old men decided to give the 2 young people a chance to live. But Sung Jin-Woo lost his leg and couldn't walk. Old Song had to hand Jin-Woo over to Ju-hee. But Ju-hee collapsed, running out of magic power after healing Sung Jin-Woo. Sung Jin-Woo didn't say much, telling Mr. Song to take Ju-hee away, while he stayed. Although cruel, at this time only Old Song could move. He could only take one person away. Sung Jin-Woo took out the E-grade stone he found and told Ju-hee, "I promise to take you out to eat. You take this stone to eat first. When I get out of here, I'll find you and get the rest of the money." As soon as Ju-hee opened her mouth, Mr. Song slapped her hard on the head, put her on her shoulder and ran away. Time is too rushed, not allowing for thinking. He looked at Jin-Woo one last time before leaving the altar, walking fiercely. Sung Jin-Woo watched them leave the temple before he breathed a sigh of relief. Now, he was alone on the altar. The warrior god slowly approached with weapons. But he is Sung Jin-Woo. Even if he dies, he must be glorious. He held his weapon, pointed it at the enemy. He took a deep breath, ready to sacrifice. A warrior god stabbed Jin-Woo straight in the body, causing intense pain, causing him to spit blood. Before he could recover, the warrior god stabbed his spear through his body. He fell heavily onto the altar. His severe injuries prevented him from moving. He shed tears of hopelessness. He was unwilling. He did not want to die like this. How can it be okay? I'm not a saint at all. Other people have families, so do I. I carry too much. I don't want to leave with regrets. If there was another chance, just when the blade was about to fall on Jin-Woo, a window would pop up, saying he had met the conditions to complete the courage of the weak mission. In the fog, Sung Jin-Woo felt like time was standing still. All around, the god warrior's blade seemed to freeze. What is this? Where does the voice come from? He received player status. Is it acceptable? What is the significance? Accept it. You don't have much time left. If he refuses, in 0.02 seconds, his heart will stop beating. Is it acceptable? Looking at the choice before him, Sung Jin-Woo knew he had no other choice. He used his last breath to say, "I accept this status. Welcome you to become a player." Suddenly, Jin-Woo's body shone brightly, emitting a dazzling light before the eyes of the evil god and the gods, and then disappeared. Why me? Why is this happening to me? I don't want to die. I want to live. He woke up, breathing heavily. It all felt like a dream, but the painful feeling of suffocation was so real. He looked out the window. Which room is this? 2 people in black rushed in and gave Sung Jin-Woo a business card. On it is written the Supervisory Board, the Hunter Association. From their mouths, Sung Jin-Woo knew he had been sleeping soundly for 3 days. Old Song survived but lost his arm, probably unable to be a hunter anymore. Ju-hee was deeply traumatized. They were just about to continue talking about other people when Jin-Woo interrupted. Towards those who abandoned their comrades in order to survive, he felt cold. The appearance of this action caused heavy damage. 17 people left, only 6 survivors. Receiving reports from lucky people, the Supervisory Board and the White Tiger Association quickly arrived at the scene. But they discovered that everyone had disappeared, leaving only Jin-Woo lying unconscious on the altar. If the survivors' stories were somewhat contradictory, or no trace of the dead body was found, they did not dare to believe the truth. Sung Jin-Woo's miraculous survival made them suspect he had experienced a second enlightenment. The hunter's power was determined upon first enlightenment. But there are also very few cases of second enlightenment, overcoming one's own limits, from level C to A, from B to S. They gave the magic power meter to Sung Jin-Woo to put his hand on. The results made everyone laugh. Even at the lowest combat level of 1, he couldn't even reach 70 points. Sung Jin-Woo was still just a normal person. The two men in black immediately left, leaving Sung Jin-Woo confused. He thought he really had enlightened superpowers, but he was curious why people weren't present. Did they see that pop up? He discovered that the two severed legs had healed, and there was no trace of the heart that was stabbed before death. He even doubted whether he was in reality or in a dream. Now, he clicked on the window and immediately appeared 3 notifications and 1 unconfirmed message. When Sung Jin-Woo said confirmation, the message opened. Daily tasks. Prepare to become strong. Failure to complete daily tasks will be punished accordingly. Seeing the long list of exercises, Sung Jin-Woo shook his head in frustration. He said, "What are you playing around with? I'm sick. How can I have the strength to practice so much? Let's go to sleep first." But time waits for no one. While Jin-Woo slept, time passed quickly. When the timer runs out, the system sends a notification that if you do not complete the daily task, you will be sent to the punishment area. In a sleepy haze, a loud noise rang out and the ground under Jin-Woo's hand turned into sand. In just a moment, he was instantly teleported to the desert. At this moment, there was a noise behind him, and Jin-Woo turned around with a scared look. A giant hellworm was looking at him with hungry eyes. A window appears. Punishment mission. Goal: survive within specified time, 4 hours. This magical system is crazy, and there are so many daily tasks. There is a time limit. Failure to complete within the specified time will result in punishment. Just a moment ago, the male lead was sleeping soundly on the bed, but now he was transported to this scorching hot desert, with a giant insect behind him. And the deeper you go into the desert, the more insects there are. And he had to endure this insidious punishment for 4 hours continuously. Luckily, right before being swallowed, the system announced that the punishment mission had been completed. He immediately transferred from hell to heaven, panting. He thought this punishment mission was very scary. Before he could receive the reward for completing the mission, he was exhausted, fell asleep, woke up. The first thing he did was do the mission, dedicating himself to the mission. After that punishment, he understood that this thing was not an illusion. Only by following its demands would life be more comfortable. And each time you complete a mission, there is a corresponding reward, which will directly increase your strength. There are also skills, ability points, and random loot boxes that increase status. Skills, items, item categories, just like playing a real game. This time, from the gift box, he received a key, the key to quickly enter the cave. Following the instructions, he arrived at the subway station door. The key glowed when activated, then the underground cave entrance appeared. Stepping through the curtain of light, it's a different world. You can see that other world, but the people in that other world cannot see you. At this moment, he panicked. The previous time he accidentally entered the cave, leaving him with a lifetime of horrifying memories. He wanted to run but couldn't escape. The system told him to kill the final boss to escape. Sung Jin-Woo was miserable. He couldn't even deal with low-level monsters, let alone having to destroy the final boss without help. Looking at the dark hallway, he broke out in sweat. But now, there was no other way. He had to rush in, quickly. He was in danger. A monster opened its giant mouth and rushed forward. Sung Jin-Woo quickly dodged. He didn't know if he could fight it back, but he was lucky enough to survive after meeting the god, so he had to try. The wolf rushed towards him. Sung Jin-Woo turned around to avoid it. He was a bit surprised because his body was unusually light. It seemed his strength had increased a bit. He gathered strength and punched hard. The wolf flew back towards the iron door, distorting it. Sung Jin-Woo didn't believe in his strength, but just a normal attack wouldn't cause serious damage to the monster. While fumbling, he remembered the weapon, opened the inventory. There was nothing, only the weapon. Sung Jin-Woo pulled out his weapon, slashed hard on the wolf's head, successfully killing it, and receiving $15,000. With such great destructive power, his confidence immediately skyrocketed. Even if 2 children come, I will not be afraid. He raised his weapon and slashed one immediately. Compared to the monsters in the temple back then, these guys were so weak. A few days ago, he was afraid of a low-level monster. Jin-Woo used to be just a useless guy who couldn't fight against E-level monsters. But now, 2 E-level monsters appeared at the same time, and he was still strong enough to deal with them. By defeating monsters, he leveled up. All stats increased by 1 point. Although it was unknown how much combat power those numbers added, the increase in power by 20 helped him improve qualitatively. He gradually understood the players. By continuously doing daily quests, killing monsters to level up, he could really become strong. He remembered that monsters would drop gems when they died, so he approached the big wolf's body to see. Unlike previous caves, this time they drop items. He also discovered the system store. He wanted to go in and take a look, but the system announced that the level was not enough. He could only sell things, sell wolf teeth. He received 20 gold coins. He just didn't know what the money was used for. While he was studying the strange shop, from the darkness slowly stepped out a giant wolf. Then countless eyes appeared. A series of giant wolves appeared. But Jin-Woo's eyes were no longer afraid. He had already died once. Holding the knife, he walked towards the pack of wolves without fear. One time he stabbed a wolf. Suddenly one bit him from behind. He swung his sword and slashed hard behind him, but the wolves quickly surrounded him. His eyes changed. A line of sparks cut through the wind, destroying each ferocious wolf. He didn't know if he could survive, but he knew that if he gave up here, his death would be meaningless. Only when you are strong can you protect the people you love. Every time he kills more wolves, his level increases rapidly. The wolf pack, which used large numbers as an advantage, now seemed to retreat in panic. Not paying attention to the wound on his body and the blood becoming less and less, Jin-Woo held his sword and slowly entered the group of ferocious wolves. Gripping the hilt of his knife, he charged into the pack of wolves for another fierce fight. He successfully destroyed the giant wolf pack, breathing heavily from fatigue. His hand no longer had the strength to grip the hilt of the sword, so he let it drag on the ground. He went to another area, looked up, and saw a group of giant wolves. He breathed deeply, gritted his teeth. It seemed like another fierce battle. After a while of fighting, he successfully destroyed a pack of wolves, but his sword was broken because of too much use. Of course, he expected that even expensive weapons would break after a few uses. Previously, he had spent money to buy a sword worth more than $3,000. Initially, destroying small monsters is very convenient, but when encountering a boss, it is immediately destroyed. In the end, he only received 3 grade stones, a huge loss. So no matter how difficult it was, Jin-Woo still decided to fight with his bare hands, destroying each monster. Thanks to killing countless giant wolves, he received the title of Wolf Hunter. When facing animals, all of his stats will increase by 40%. This for Jin-Woo was like a gift from heaven. There are also wolf teeth, 2 broken swords, a nomad outfit, and a return item. He thought because he also had things when he returned, he had harvested enough today, so let's go back. But that thought was only fleeting. He grabbed the things and went back. No, he couldn't go back just like that. Luckily, I found a place to fight monsters and level up. I don't know when I'll see this opportunity again. I can't go back like this. Hesitating for a moment, he decided to put his things in his bag, then slowly entered the unknown land. The deeper you go, the stronger the monster becomes. Thanks to continuously defeating monsters, Jin-Woo gradually leveled up. After each level up, fighting monsters becomes easier. He could clearly feel his body gradually becoming stronger. Jin-Woo also realized that this place was different from regular caves in that monsters could continuously regenerate. This made him feel like he wasn't fighting a living creature, but like he was fighting a monster in a game. As long as you understand their fixed patterns, you can predict where they will appear from. When falling from above, cats will rush in from both sides. Anticipating the enemy's attack, he can easily destroy them. Facing the enemies that appeared again and again, Sung Jin-Woo's eyes remained calm, swinging his sword, eliminating monsters easily. Sung Jin-Woo also discovered that each monster had a name and color on its head. White means the monster is weaker than him, orange means equal or stronger, red means very strong. The dragon he met at first changed from orange to white. This means that Sung Jin-Woo is becoming noticeably stronger. Even though it was stronger, the cold air coming from below still made Sung Jin-Woo shiver. He clearly felt something terrible underneath. He pondered, killing small monsters could no longer level up. Continuing to fight pointlessly will destroy this 10,000-year-old sword. So there was only one option left, to face his fear. Sung Jin-Woo slowly walked down the stairs. The familiar stairs below made him feel longer than usual. Downstairs is a swampy area, dilapidated buildings, overgrown weeds, and cold winds. From the darkness came a rustling sound. Sung Jin-Woo had no time to react. Something moved lightning fast across the ground. Before Sung Jin-Woo could see clearly what was happening, it appeared right in front of him. He quickly used his sword to block it. A strong force sent him flying, hitting the wall, spitting out a mouthful of blood, and falling to the ground barely alive. Worse, his 10,000-year-old sword lost a large part after that impact. The fragments kept falling. He promptly sat down and smiled bitterly, thinking his level had increased quite a bit, but he didn't expect the orange monster to ruin him like that. The giant python opened its mouth wide, revealing two sharp teeth, sticking out its tongue to scorn the prey in front of it. Sung Jin-Woo gasped, on high alert, turned his hand, holding the broken sword, into a dagger. Unexpectedly, the first time he fought a boss alone, he lost in the first game. The 10,000-year-old sword suddenly became a short sword. Looking at this guy's scales, it's unlikely he could pierce it with a weapon, let alone a punch. Before he could think, the python opened its mouth wide and rushed forward. Sung Jin-Woo used his short sword to scratch its body, but it was like scratching its itch. Not only does it not hurt, it also makes it angry. The python whipped its giant body, spinning continuously. Suddenly, a tail swung in front of Sung Jin-Woo. He quickly used his short sword to block it, but was thrown away by the python's tail. Then the python's body wrapped tightly around Sung Jin-Woo, squeezing so tightly that he couldn't breathe. He struggled to escape, sitting on the ground panting. I thought I had leveled up a lot, at least I could take more hits. But I didn't expect to be so weak. We must become stronger and stronger to escape this feeling of helplessness. He used the forging hammer to resist the venomous snake's attack, making a shrill, clicking sound. He pushed the snake's head away with the wave of his hand. Kneeling on the ground, he took a deep breath, held the hammer, and walked straight towards the giant snake. Holding the short sword tightly in his hand, only overwhelming strength, only absolute strength, can make them bow their heads and make them submit. Hypocrisy cannot protect itself, no matter how much the opponent insults. In the face of power, everything disappears. In the face of fear, everything will disappear. Because he was so weak and had been looked down upon, no matter how knowledgeable and wise he was, no matter how much he was thanked, in the face of absolute strength, he was still easily betrayed. Only when you are strong enough will you be truly respected. Otherwise, Sung Jin-Woo was thrown away by the snake, hit him hard with his tail, and hit the wall straight. He struggled to get up, his hands were shaking, but he felt unusually excited, because the monster in front of him is still not strong enough. Compared to that guy, it is still far behind. Compared to the fear at that time, there was nothing to be afraid of. Sung Jin-Woo jumped up and slid the sword across the snake's body. The snake's eyes suddenly dimmed, its head lunged forward to bite. Sung Jin-Woo fell back to avoid it, then rushed forward to hug the snake's neck and squeeze hard. His fingers tightened, the snake's iron-hard scales were dented. The snake let out a painful howl, swaying and dragging Sung Jin-Woo everywhere. Sung Jin-Woo shouted loudly and died. Squeaking, the snake's hard scales continuously make cracking sounds, along with painful hissing sounds. He finally succeeded in killing the final boss, receiving the dropped item, Casker's Venom, Myo Casker's Venom Gland. Just a few days ago, he couldn't defeat the low-level monster. Now, he strangled and killed the final boss with his bare hands. killed 1,000 enemies, lost 800 people. He also suffered minor injuries all over his body. The 10,000-year-old sword turned into a short sword. Luckily, he had a better weapon, a short knife made from snake teeth, with double the usual attack power, and the effect of paralyzing and bleeding the enemy. He also received an animal that was unknown if it was strong or not from an item dropped by the boss. A window appears. The final boss has been defeated. The cave inside will be restored to its original state. The ceiling will fall down like a puzzle. The entire cave space quickly disappeared, and he returned to the actual subway station. Climbing the stairs, he reached the ground. Strangely, the surrounding was empty, without a soul. Suddenly, a soldier walked up with a gun and asked Sung Jin-Woo, "What are you doing? Didn't he hear the announcement?" Sung Jin-Woo looked confused and asked the soldiers what happened. The soldier looked stern, intending to blame the young man for not knowing whether he lived or died, but seeing his broken knife and tattered clothes, he realized he was a hunter. The soldier immediately respected Sung Jin-Woo, who showed him the way. On the way, Sung Jin-Woo saw ruined cars and monsters lying everywhere. The soldier said that a portal suddenly appeared around him and monsters came to this world. Most of the monsters have been destroyed. Only one giant monster remains. Perhaps due to his level up, Sung Jin-Woo clearly felt that the giant was the final boss. On a peaceful road, one foot steps down and the ground collapses. A giant glowing monster roared. At its feet, hunters were attacking. There was a group of curious people watching around. Chatter echoed in the crowd. What are those hunters doing? How long should we fight? The greater the damage? What if land prices fall? They even took out their phones to record. Everyone held their phones to film and take photos. In fact, hunters try very hard. They desire to attack continuously, but the monster's physical defense was too high. There weren't many magic hunters in the group, and there was still a risk of being counterattacked. Sung Jin-Woo arrived only to see the hunters fighting in disorder. He felt unreasonable. It seems that this group is temporarily assembled. The squad is poor, and the level is not enough. There are 8 East level hunters, 1D level support, 2D level healers, 1B level healer. This B level I know very well. It's my best friend, Ju-hee. Even though she is B level, she is powerless in this battle. It seems she still hasn't forgotten that terrible shock. It's been a week, but she still can't get over it. But Sung Jin-Woo was not surprised. Even he was not completely over it. However, he was determined to overcome it. He held the battlefield sword and stood firm. This boss is stronger than the previous boss. You just need to make him lose his defense to defeat him. He needed a strong attack to penetrate that stupid defense. Sung Jin-Woo's neck veins flared up, and he threw the weapon at boss with all his might. At this time, the hunters were in chaos. Without help from high-ranking hunters, they were about to run out of blood. Suddenly, a loud noise rang out. Boss lost his defense and fell slowly. The hunters saw this and rushed to attack the boss, finally killing it. The hunters felt strange. The previous attacks on him had no effect. So why was he suddenly knocked down like that? No, he is completely unharmed by us. What flew there just now? Did it knock down the monster? What exactly went through his head? It was him, wasn't it? The giant monster that dozens of hunters couldn't deal with was defeated by such an old sword. Who is this in the end? He asked the soldier standing outside. Did he see who threw the sword? Looking down at the broken sword, the soldier was startled. This wasn't the hunter's weapon. Where was he? He was still here just now. This power, could it be that he is a high-level hunter? Sung Jin-Woo left the scene. Even he was a bit surprised. Unexpectedly, one blow knocked boss down. It seems his strength really increased a lot. Looking at the noisy crowd, Ju-hee was a bit stunned. She seemed to catch a glimpse of Sung Jin-Woo, the weak boy who had now become a muscular man. To avoid being punished for exceeding the deadline, he was forced to complete daily tasks assigned by the system. Thanks to constant exercise, his body became stronger and stronger, and he became much taller. He opened the status window, only to see that so far stat points had only been added to strength. He has a bad feeling. If this continues, he will probably turn into a muscular man. Increasing power is good, but just having power without touching the enemy is useless. Strength and agility can complement each other. The higher the physical strength, the better. But now, he needs other things. More. Surely intelligence is related to magic, but he is not a magician. After consideration, he allocated the majority of available stat points to agility to combine with strength. At this time, a call came in and Sung Jin-Woo thought he was being scolded. Unexpectedly, on the other side was the homeowner demanding rent. He replied that he would quickly come and give the money. Hanging up the phone, Sung Jin-Woo thought he had leveled up many levels now. This rent money would definitely be earned quickly. Furthermore, if he continues to grow like this, he will soon become a high-level hunter. Hunters earn money by catching monsters. With accumulated experience, the level increases, the more gems are obtained from monsters. The gem price will also be higher if you want to hunt high-level monsters and have to go to a higher-level teleportation gate. But currently, he has only entered level E and 2 gates. At these two lower levels, the number of hunters is very large. Competition is fierce. So not only is he level not accepted by the guild, it's also difficult to even find a job. Currently, Sung Jin-Woo is at level E in the association system. Wanting to go to a higher level is still difficult. I think I'll just go check again at the guild and upgrade to a higher level. But when he read the news, the second enlightenment event was currently the center of attention. If you get noticed by leveling up too quickly, it will be counterproductive. Being noticed by strange forces means big trouble. So it's best that as few people know about him becoming strong as possible. So with the current situation, he can only find a private group to join. Through an online recruitment site, he quickly found a group. Sung Jin-Woo arrived at a construction site, where many hunters had gathered, and a giant waved at him. They introduced themselves. The guy said bad things didn't get through the door, good things didn't leave the house. Hearing that Sung Jin-Woo had been defeated, he couldn't stop laughing. So it's the weakest weapon on earth. The captain gave Sung Jin-Woo the contract to sign. The reason for inviting him to the group was because to enter a C-rank cave, a minimum of 10 people were needed, so they needed an E-rank hunter like him to have enough numbers. As a laborer, they will pay you $12,000. Sung Jin-Woo glanced. 5 C-rank hunters, 4 below D rank, as expected. He was just making enough numbers. There was another person in sufficient numbers who was a D-rank hunter, wearing sparkling clothes, and was definitely someone who spent money playing games. Sung Jin-Woo's job was to follow behind them, carrying their things. He suddenly remembered that the group lacked a healer. The giant told him that, for a private attack team like theirs, it was difficult to recruit healers. We do that all the time. It's okay. Sung Jin-Woo sighed. An attack team with only a defender and a damage dealer. What a mess. The contract clearly states that any accident that occurs in the cave, all responsibility must be borne. That's why Sung Jin-Woo felt worried. The rich guy patted Sung Jin-Woo's shoulder with his titan hand, telling him not to worry, it's okay if he's here. Sung Jin-Woo's face was expressionless, not knowing whether to cry or laugh anymore. After preparing, everyone headed to the sea-level cave. Is this how a tycoon spending money to play games appears? If you don't have a point of comparison, you won't feel disadvantaged. Sung Jin-Woo just walked in without a weapon, and the other guy was a titan from head to toe. Sung Jin-Woo entered the cave for a living, while the other guy played games just for fun. Looking at the formation, everyone was fully armed. It seems that the team that can enter the sea-level cave is indeed completely different from the D and E-level caves. Everyone walked through the teleportation gate. Inside it was dark. The magician lit up. Appearing before their eyes was a complex maze of caves. Strangely, there was no light at all, and no sign of the monster. The rich guy suddenly asked Sung Jin-Woo, "Strange, is there a cave without monsters?" Sung Jin-Woo signaled silence. He closed his eyes to listen. From the cave came the sound of something that sounded like some kind of insect monster. Hearing that, everyone panicked. "You said insect. This is not an ant nest. Why don't I see any children?" Sung Jin-Woo shouted loudly, "Like there." Hearing that, everyone quickly looked up. A series of monsters continuously poured down from the caves on the ceiling, and the magician activated the ant attack skill. The person attracting attention activates the taunt. The ants rush towards him. When the ants were attracted, the old man took advantage of the opportunity and quickly destroyed the ants. Looking at the scientific combat formation, Jin-Woo exclaimed that it was worthy of being called a C-level team. They coordinated very well. This proficiency takes a long time to practice. If we cooperate like this, even without treatment, we can fight. However, because they don't have treatment, they look reckless, even the rich guy. But the Titan suit conceals his lack of experience and strength. Even though everyone was very good, Jin-Woo still felt like something was wrong. Very soon, everyone cleared the ants at the entrance. The captain ordered to collect the spoils and at the same time restore his strength. He approached Jin-Woo, thanking him for the warning, but he was curious why an E-rank hunter like Jin-Woo was so knowledgeable about monsters and their attacks. Jin-Woo, of course, couldn't say it was due to the increased sensation points. He told the older man it was due to sensation. The older man smiled devilishly and said that luckily everything was resolved perfectly. I'll thank you later, but I hope you don't use your feelings where they shouldn't. Jin-Woo was about to say something when he was interrupted by the magician's scream. There are many strange wounds on the ant's corpse, not caused by the player, but like being bitten. This means that before fighting the player, the ants were seriously damaged. There is also a struggle for territory between monsters. That proves that inside there is a monster more ferocious than ants. Possibly the final boss. Looking at the hunter's greedy eyes, Jin-Woo felt uneasy. He asked the rich guy, "Are your weapons and shields very expensive?" The rich guy said, "Yes. Because this was my first time leading the team, Ad equipped me with good equipment." Then he looked confused as to why Jin-Woo asked that. Jin-Woo also didn't know why he asked, but he should still be cautious. This bad premonition made him feel that something would definitely happen. Since joining the team, Jin-Woo always felt like something was wrong, especially seeing the greedy eyes of the hunters made him more worried. Cave sizes vary, regardless of level. This cave is like a complicated maze. Although there aren't many monsters to fight, it still takes a lot of time along the way. Depending on the situation, there are caves that take a few days to understand the internal structure, and there are caves that only take a few hours to reach the boss room. And Jin-Woo's job is a porter. As long as there are no incidents, you won't have to go to war. You'll still have money without having to fight monsters, and your job will be good. But for some reason, a warning suddenly appeared in Jin-Woo's mind. Be careful not to lose your life. He didn't know why he thought of that sentence, but he knew that his bad feeling was never wrong. They walked for a long time, but did not see a single monster intact, either dead or dying. Suddenly, the captain stopped and ordered the magician to light up the area. The light revealed a complex maze of spider silk, many monsters wrapped into mummies. Of course, this deep hallway is the boss room. As soon as they entered, everyone was immediately attracted by the large number of spirits. Although not as expensive as jade, this quantity still sells for quite a lot of money, with a preliminary estimate of over 10 million. An idiot smiled and said to the captain, "Captain, with this much money, your younger brother would be jealous to death." The magician quickly interrupted. At this time, he was not allowed to mention his younger brother. Looking at the sparkling light of the attractive spirit, the captain smiled with satisfaction, thinking, "Little brother, do you see? I'm not always wrong." Being a hunter, at a slightly higher level, you look down on others, are blinded by small coins, and enjoy VIP privileges. You still look down on me now, don't you? But I don't know how to live only by relying on you. This time I will make my attack team stronger. The members could not hide their joy and calculated how to share this huge amount of money. Divided into 9 parts, each person gets quite a bit. Hearing the story, the rich man told Jin-Woo to take out the contract and look at it. After reading it, he held the contract and told the hunters that this was Jin-Woo's contract. It only talks about distributing gems from monster hunting, not mentioning the distribution of other items. But you guys divided the spirit into 9 parts. This isn't fair to Jin-Woo, right? The captain's expression immediately turned gloomy, but quickly changed to a gentle look. Of course, it had to be divided equally, to be fair. I know, but first I have to deal with that annoying boss. Everyone knows that once the boss is defeated, the cave will close. Therefore, before destroying spiders, you must bring out all the attracting spirit. Luckily, the spiders are full and sleep. Now is a good time to move them. The team leader turned around and asked if the junior member had brought the mining equipment. The subordinate honestly replied that he had not. Who would have thought that there would be an attractive spirit in the sea-level cave? Mining equipment is kept on the vehicle, not carried. Sung Jin-Woo next to him sarcastically said, "Let's watch you guys continue acting." Sure enough, after the drama, they told Sung Jin-Woo and the rich guy to stay and guard, and they went back to get the equipment from the car. The rich guy immediately panicked. Catching me as a D-rank hunter, and a D-rank hunter guarding a C-rank boss. Are you kidding? The older man looked harmless. Is this your first time going to a sea-level cave? Trust me, it's okay. The noise is this loud, and he won't wake up. Besides, I also have something to say to my teammates. Let's all go out and smoke a cigarette, and then come right back. Having said that, he and his companions left the spider cave. Looking at the silhouettes of the hunters, Sung Jin-Woo remembered what the captain once told him. They often did that. That means they regularly enter and exit the sea-level gate, without having to recruit people to fill vacancies. Exiting the cave, the captain revealed an evil smile, and ordered the magician to block the entrance to the boss room. The magician also smirked at the rich man's look of horror. There was a loud explosion. A series of large rocks fell, blocking the entrance to the spider cave. Sung Jin-Woo's bad premonition was once again correct. They are truly cruel hunters. To possess a large amount of seductive spirit, they locked Sung Jin-Woo and the rich guy in the boss room. Sung Jin-Woo also understood the meaning of the captain's words, that he hoped he would not use his feelings in the wrong place. Cave hunting is a fascinating but also very dangerous job. Sometimes the most dangerous people are not monsters, but humans. Inside the cave there is no legal supervision. No matter what happens, the outside will not know. Therefore, crimes often happen in caves. There is a type of hunter called a lizard, who, when discovering a member who is useless or hinders their interests, will throw away their comrades like a scorpion cutting off its tail to live. And Sung Jin-Woo, with his keen sense, joined a group of real scorpions. In order to possess a large amount of seductive spirit, they imprisoned him and the rich guy in the boss room. So that was the idea. He touched the large rock blocking the cave entrance. It seemed like the magician had packed it tightly. However, this level is still not enough to stop Sung Jin-Woo if he is determined to escape. The problem is that the loud noise just woke up the boss spider. The hunters walked out of the teleportation gate. The subordinate wondered and asked the captain, "Why make it so complicated? Can't we kill them right there?" The captain replied angrily, "Stupid. Kill right there? Noise awakens the spider. Do we still have time to dig up the spirit?" An E-rank hunter, with the weakest weapon, playing the game with the D-rank hunter, without experience. Even if they tried their best, they couldn't kill the boss. Wait until the spiders have eaten their fill and then sleep. Then we have a chance to get the spirit of attraction. If this doesn't work, we'll have to kill the boss. But have you seen the rich guy's equipment? The weapons and shields alone were worth several tens of millions. Even if you don't have the spirit to attract him, taking his things is enough of a big deal. In the boss room, the spider opened its mouth wide, looking at the two prey with longing. The rich guy was scared to death, but still stood in front to protect Sung Jin-Woo. Sung Jin-Woo pulled out his dagger and calmly told the rich guy, "Me worry." The rich man watched in surprise as Sung Jin-Woo slowly approached the giant spider. He thought Sung Jin-Woo was crazy. Even a B-level hunter wasn't sure he could kill a C-level boss, let alone an E-level boss. It was better to think of a way to escape, not to be so reckless. The rich man's comment was not wrong. Even though he had awakened a second time, Sung Jin-Woo was still weak at this time. This spider is much stronger than the previous two bosses encountered. But so what? The spider monster in front of you. This spider monster doesn't bring any fear to him at all. He smiled, his body full of energy. In the rich man's surprised eyes, he swung the knife made from poisonous snake teeth, slashing hard at the spider's body. The monster screamed in pain. Sung Jin-Woo's attack was effective. It was a weapon made from boss teeth. The destructive power was clearly visible. He landed on the ground, stood up firmly, clutching the short sword tightly. His eyes sharpened, and he began to hunt. He rushed forward and attacked the boss. The rich man was stunned. This is an E-level hunter. If you want to do damage with the short sword, you have to get as close as possible. But it has 8 legs with no blind spots, sharp legs that can easily destroy rocks and soil. Normally, it's difficult for people to get close to it, but Sung Jin-Woo is no ordinary person. The rich guy looked at him with eyes of disbelief. Who was he? A skill like that can't be E rank, but the records say he's E rank. Or is he a fraud? In the cave, there are a few hunters who can control magic power. Just by intentionally concealing it, they can trick the association's combat strength measurement system and receive a lower level. This type of hunter is often called a cheater. The problem is that most of them are sick serial killers. Maybe Sung Jin-Woo is such a murderer. Looking at the skill and horror on Sung Jin-Woo's face, the rich man's legs softened and he knelt on the ground. Unfortunately, it's almost over before it even starts. At this time, Sung Jin-Woo was trying his best to fight the spider, completely unaware that he was considered a murderer. After a while, he still hadn't done any significant damage to the monster. Meanwhile, his strength is gradually running out. Along with fatigue, the speed also slows down, unable to last any longer. The only way to win is to take advantage of the knife's special ability and pierce the monster's body. The weak point of every creature is the head, and the most vulnerable part is the eyes. This eye-filled monster was now leaking green poison from its mouth. Before he could be surprised, a stream of poisonous water gushed out, instantly corroding the stone floor. Turns out, it also has a killer move. To get closer, he had to move faster than now. Sung Jin-Woo absorbed the power, activated the running skill, and rushed towards the spider at lightning speed. He rushed straight into the spider's blind spot, causing many injuries. Activates the paralyzing effect, but the resistance is too strong, so it is immediately resolved. At this time, Sung Jin-Woo's fatigue level increased. He gritted his teeth. He had to go faster. Moving quickly caused his physical strength to rapidly decline. He must finish the battle, otherwise his exhausted strength will lead to failure. He jumped up, intending to strike the decisive blow on the spider, but it yelled at him. He immediately froze, was hit by the spider's claws, and flew several meters away before falling to the ground. The spider took advantage of the opportunity to use its claws to stab Sung Jin-Woo. Sung Jin-Woo suddenly opened his eyes. The opportunity was here. Taking advantage of the moment the enemy relaxed, he activated the system, using daily mission rewards to immediately restore his stamina. With lightning speed, he rushed towards the spider. In its terrified eyes, he stabbed the short sword through the spider's eye. Yellow blood gushes out, triggering paralysis and blood loss effects. Enemy health decreases by 1% every second. After a series of continuous attacks, the spider's health is depleted. The head exploded. The cave owner was destroyed. The notification window appeared. Sung Jin-Woo leveled up continuously. He sighed. Luckily, he didn't use up all of today's rewards. Otherwise, there would be dire consequences. The rich guy opened his mouth in surprise. It was unbelievable. He actually defeated the final boss alone, who was definitely a cheater. The rich guy hurriedly held the team flag, called Sung Jin-Woo his brother, even gave him water, and volunteered to hold a digging shovel to attract the spirit. This made Sung Jin-Woo look surprised. Why did he suddenly change like that? But he quickly found out the reason. The rich guy probably considered him a life-saving benefactor. At this moment, the doors suddenly exploded, and the lizard gods appeared. These greedy hunters temporarily locked 2 members in the boss room to gain a large amount of spiritual attraction. But when they returned, they were extremely surprised to see that both of them had survived. The boss was dead. What happened? Or is that spider just big, but not very scary? But looking at the rich guy's equipment, he can deal with the C-level boss, while the E-level guy can't help. The boss was definitely defeated by him alone. Maybe his titanium armor has some special effects. A confrontation could be very troublesome. A previous check on the phone showed that this kid was the son of a rich tycoon. After consideration, the captain offered the rich man a chance to live on the condition that he kill Sung Jin-Woo. Just kill Sung Jin-Woo, and the rich guy will become their accomplice. So even if the rich guy gets out alive, they still have something to threaten him. If you don't listen, you'll both die here. Faced with the predators who intended to harm him, the rich men grimaced and decided to take up arms and side with Sung Jin-Woo. Seeing that the rich men ate soft food without fear of hardness, the hunters turned pale. They pulled out their weapons and slowly approached Sung Jin-Woo and the rich guy. At this time, the emergency mission window appears. There are enemies around who want to kill you. Need to destroy all of them to ensure safety. If you do not follow the instructions, you will be punished accordingly. The number of enemies to destroy is 8. Sung Jin-Woo was still confused when the magician rushed forward and threw a skill at him. A loud explosion rang out. Sung Jin-Woo was pushed several meters away, hitting the wall. The rich men angrily looked at the predators and murderers. Lying under the rubble, Sung Jin-Woo spoke. How could I forget? This is where the weak are bullied by the strong, and competition is fiercest. Up until now, I have always been in a state of paralysis. Even though I escaped death countless times in the cave, after recovering, I still return. But I thought this place was safe. But I was wrong. As long as there are enemies, there will be no safety. If you want to survive, you must kill them. This is not a coincidence or good intention. It is just a system requirement. Not to make me stronger, but it needs a strong me. It's great. The system takes advantage of me. Take advantage of the system. The hunters were still mocking their fellow magicians. Since when are you weak? It's a shame. They couldn't kill an E-level guy. But they didn't know that the magician had used all his strength in the attack just now. But Sung Jin-Woo could still stand up. Or maybe it didn't hit the target. Sung Jin-Woo radiated murderous intent, telling the hunters that they didn't know whether to live or die. You guys dare to play with other people's lives. You must be ready to be hunted down. But they still couldn't sense the approaching danger, still laughing at what Sung Jin-Woo thought he was. Sung Jin-Woo's eyes were shining. Ask you, as hunters, are you ready to be hunted? A man approached and placed his hand on Sung Jin-Woo's shoulder. Kid, it seems you still don't understand the situation. Sung Jin-Woo didn't bother to say another word to them. He pulled out his knife and slashed quickly, severing the man's neck. The system displays that one enemy has been destroyed. The hunters panicked. Since when did that kid have a knife? Even if they were negligent, the guy who just died was D-class. How could he be killed by a subordinate? Out of greed, they had the intention to kill, activating Sung Jin-Woo's murder mission. He must destroy all those who intend to harm him, otherwise he will be punished by the system. With just one blow, he took care of the useless D-rank guy. Now that he has killed someone, he has no other choice. Because if you don't kill, the person who dies will be you. The power of the wild age exploded within him, turning him into an emotionless hunting machine. The magician who activated his murder mission was still not dead, and sent another blow towards Sung Jin-Woo. But Sung Jin-Woo was close in front of him in an instant, swinging his knife as fast as a ninja magician, cutting the magician in half before the eyes of his teammates. The hunters panicked. Fighting one-on-one was impossible, so they rushed forward. A warrior holding a long sword rushed forward, slashing his sword down, but only cutting them through the air. Before he could be shocked, Sung Jin-Woo was right in front of him. Two sounds rang out. The three hunters panicked. Too fast, unable to touch. Their bodies could not move. This kid even knew magic. The rich man looked at him in utter amazement. When he fought the boss, he was even more terrible than this. In just a moment, all the subordinates went to heaven. The captain panicked. In just a moment, all his subordinates were destroyed. It turned out that he had been hiding his strength from the beginning, and the boss was definitely killed by him. After all, he is a C-level expert. Even when facing hunters of the same level, he is not weak. He turned on the enhanced skill, combined defense and shield, turning himself into a chariot. In absolute defense, any speed is useless. But he didn't know that Sung Jin-Woo was not only fast, but also extremely strong. His power is so terrible, and he is constantly leveling up. Lying on the ground, the captain could not believe that the defense system he was proud of was broken. With each sword strike, when he was about to die, he realized Sung Jin-Woo's terrifying power. It's even possible that he is the cheater everyone is rumored to be. Seeing that he couldn't win, he begged Sung Jin-Woo to spare his life. He would pay, and all the charm spirits and gems in the cave would be handed over to Sung Jin-Woo. But Sung Jin-Woo looked at him coldly. For the third time you want to kill me, and now you ask me to spare your life. The captain is afraid to turn pale. Do you think that after doing this, you will be safe? Didn't you say that no one knew about the incident in the cave? Does this kid know who my younger brother is? Before the captain finished speaking, Sung Jin-Woo quickly slashed, ending the scum's tragic life. Accompanied by notification of the last enemy being destroyed, the system notifies of completing the mission, restoring status and energy, and increasing potential points. Greedy to kill, the hunters activate Sung Jin-Woo's assassin mission. In order to survive, he destroyed them. The news quickly spread to the Hunter Association. A subordinate brought a report to department head Woo Jin-chun. The content states that 8 people died in the C-level cave. Only D and E-level hunters survived. Chief Woo Jin-chun seemed indifferent. It was common here for hunters to run away in caves, but the subordinate said they did not run, but on the contrary, they destroyed the final boss. The D-rank guy named Yu Jin-ho has expensive equipment. Defeating the C-rank boss is also possible, but this time the boss is a giant spider, which cannot threaten an experienced team. Yet 8 team members died. It was strange. Hearing that, department head Woo Jin-chun called straight to the point, not beating around the bush. The subordinate said that the E-class survivor was Sung Jin-Woo in the double cave incident. Hearing this name, department head Woo Jin-chun was a bit surprised, but previously measuring Sung Jin-Woo's fighting power, concluded that he was useless. He didn't think it was necessary to waste any more time on Sung Jin-Woo. But when he heard that one of the dead was Hong Jong-suk's brother, he grimaced. Hong Jong-suk was one of the few elite hunters who returned home from Sung Jin-Woo's cave. Even though he doesn't spend much today, he even bought fried chicken and beer to reward himself. He tilted his head back to drink beer, but his passive skills were activated by the system, and he couldn't even get drunk. This was the first passive skill he acquired after becoming a player. It is the secret reward for the courageous quest of the week. Thanks to it, all diseases and poisons reduce damage by 20%. Because of it, Sung Jin-Woo's amputated leg was able to recover. He suddenly remembered the kasha venom he had obtained, reducing damage by 20, but at the same time reducing strength by 35 points. Luckily, Sung Jin-Woo's toxin resistance worked again. Thinking so, he opened the poison gland and put it directly into his mouth. Not long after the system detected the toxic ingredients and successfully eliminated the side effects of the venom, the rich men called and invited Sung Jin-Woo to meet at a coffee shop. Because they fought together, Sung Jin-Woo still had feelings for him. After escaping the cave, the rich man gave all the gems to Sung Jin-Woo and also protected his life. Thanks to that, he can live peacefully like now. However, the rich man still thinks Sung Jin-Woo is a fraud and a murderer who kills people for pleasure. Originally, there should be no contact, but he wanted to form a separate attack team. Before he finished speaking, Sung Jin-Woo refused. He was not interested in hunting with the rich young man to play hunter. The rich man quickly said that if he only went with him 19 more times, he would pay Sung Jin-Woo handsomely. Sung Jin-Woo warns, caves are not games. Hunters not only kill monsters, but also kill people. After witnessing that horrifying scene, do you still want to form a team? Or do you want to become a union leader? The rich man's eyes were full of determination. To join the union leadership, he needed to lead the team 20 times. If I take the remaining 19 times and pass the written test, I can qualify. The reason I wanted to become a union leader was related to my father's union. He really wanted to form a union. Although the cave was dangerous, it contained many treasures. Gems and spirit are only a part, monster. Corpses can also be used as ingredients, so everything in the cave has value. Large corporations, of course, also want to participate. If I become a union leader, maybe start a team of commercial hunters. My father wants to hire an S rank to be the leader of the group, and my brother to be the deputy, still mixed like the association. Although his brother is very capable, he is not awakened, so he cannot be the team leader. There will of course be conflict between the leader and deputy leader. Through accumulating combat experience, the rich man wants to convince his father. For the rich guy, Jin-Woo is the most ideal candidate to form the team. Just the fact that he can single-handedly defeat C-level bosses and C-level hunters without any harm means his level is at least B, or even higher. Despite his cold and heartless appearance, he saved the rich man and the high-ranking hunters from the spider boss and Hong Jong-suk's human hunting team. And he also successfully completed team missions with E-level hunters, which brought great benefits to the latter. The fact that Jin-Woo wanted to hide his strength to fight also needed a support team. The rich man pledged to keep Jin-Woo's strength a secret for the rest of his life. In addition, the rich man gave Jin-Woo a file of documents. Jin-Woo picked it up and looked at it. He was surprised. This young master was so generous to recruit hunters as teammates and paid 2 billion. It was unbelievable. The condition is that Jin-Woo accompanied him 19 times to conquer the sea-level cave. Recently, Jin-Woo could not even buy a weapon to enter the cave. The above amount of money to him was like money falling from the sky. Even though he was a special case of awakening twice, sooner or later he would reach S level, even higher than S level. At that time, 2 billion would be considered insignificant. But right now, 2 billion is still very tempting for him. You can also comfortably fight monsters and level up without worrying about anything. No matter how you calculate it, it's a business without losses. He gave the rich guy a condition that only the two of them would go into the cave. The rich guy trembled in fear. A sea-level team entering the cave would still have difficulty, let alone just 2 people. But the union rule is that there must be at least 10 members to enter the sea-level teleportation door. Just 2 of them cannot enter. Jin-Woo suggested using Hong Jong-suk's method. Just need to gather enough people to receive the bonus. The rich guy is still afraid. Just 2 people conquering the sea-level cave is too dangerous. Jin-Woo sighed. It seemed like he still didn't fully understand. In other words, as long as the 2 of us are okay, no one will get hurt. If you can safely complete it 19 times from the beginning, it will help you prove your ability to your father. Hearing that, the rich man was startled and understood. The 2 sides reached an agreement, and the rich guy recruited the remaining members. Jin-Woo ran and thought, not knowing that the daily mission had been completed, and crossed another 1 kilometer. The system also recorded that part, which made Jin-Woo curious. He stretched his body and continued running, discovering that when he doubled the exercise, his system score no longer increased. So just double the amount of running too. News of his brother's death in the cave spread to Hong Jong-suk. He angrily crushed the phone in his hand. He clearly understood his brother's useless personality. He cannot risk his life to help the weak. Moreover, those 2 people are not even their teammates. Surely the other 2 guys set a trap and killed him. He ordered his assistant to arrange a schedule. He had to return home once and meet these 2 murderers. The assistant said there was still a lot of work. It would take 2 months at the earliest to be free. He angrily tore the documents in his hand, revealing a fierce face. Hopefully in 2 months, those 2 guys are still not dead. D-rank hunter and E-rank hunter Jin-Woo. After completing double the daily quest, Jin-Woo unlocked the hidden quest, receiving 3 rewards. For the 3rd reward, you must choose one of 2. After much hesitation, he chose a random turtle-cursed gift box and received an S-rank item, the key to the evil Golden Kingdom. He went to the designated opening position and inserted the key. The door leading to the S-class cave slowly opened. He walked inside, where it was like hell, fire burning everywhere. He could feel his survival rate here was almost 0, but he still wanted to go in to see what his fighting strength was. If his life is in danger, he will use the return charm to escape.